Are you thinking of reading a fantasy book in Italian? You might be hesitant because you think it'll be too difficult to understand. Well, let's prepare you a little and show you how unscary a lot of fantasy characters are. I mean the spelling, not the actual characters. They can be proper scary. Bear in mind there can be multiple ways of saying these things in some cases, and that this is not meant to be a vocabulary list for you to learn, far from it. It's to familiarise you with what you might see and to prove to you that a lot of these are actually easily guessable with the right mindset. Also, this is not an exhaustive list, just a sample. So the first thing you think about with fantasy is dragons and knights, right? A dragon is a drago, almost the same word. By the way, I'm not doing all the plurals for these, you can work those out for yourselves. A knight is a cavaliere. Interestingly, this word can also be used to denote a gentleman or a squire, but going back to knight, you can also see how this word is similar to that for a horse, cavallo. So that should be a clue. Always look for clues. Next, you probably think of all those fantasy creatures like elves and goblins and such like. Here are a few of those. First, folletto. This is one of the few that isn't easily guessable. It can be translated as a number of things. Mainly it's a hobgoblin, but it can also be used for an elf or pixie, or, all those little, usually woodland creatures. More easy to recognise for an elf, though, is elfo and elfa. Another one that isn't easy to guess is the word for a dwarf. That is nano or nana. You might even do a double take thinking, is that a different spelling of a grandparent? I'm pretty sure that's what happened to me the first time I saw this one. Also, sometimes it gets translated as gnome, but more likely that will be gnomo and gnoma. Different pronunciation, but almost identical spelling to English. Unicorno? Yeah, no problem there, methinks. I've never seen a female spelling of this, but that probably exists. Grifone. Yeah, you got it. A griffin. Now, general beasts. You probably already know mostro for monster, but there's also bestia and belva, which both translate as beasts. The first of which seems to be the more common one. Probably down to author preference though. But it's also easier to guess. Right, in fantasy there's usually magic, so let's deal with the magic beings next. Fata is a fairy and Strega a witch. You might already know those. They aren't so obvious. But Mago for wizard is very close to mage. You can also translate it as mage. Okay, what about our heroes? We've already mentioned knights, but they aren't the only heroes. Well, they're not always heroes. They might be baddies, but we'll get to them later. Eroe and eroine. Your straightforward hero and heroine. Easy enough to guess. Guerriero and guerriera. These are warriors. You have part of the word for war there, so again, guessable. You might think it's guerrilla, but it isn't, not exactly. That has a separate word, guerriglia. Avventuriero and avventuriera. Obvious, right? And then you get to those destined to be great, so you might see primogenito and primogenita for firstborn, and prescelto and prescelta for the chosen one. The context might give you those, but maybe not. Now, the baddies. Il super cattivone. You're sure to know cattivo. And super is an English word, so the really, really baddie. Diavolo, demone, demonio, lucifero. These are ways to say demon, all easy to determine. Then there's the person they're blaming. Capro espiatorio, the scapegoat. You might guess that, but it could take a minute. Of course, many of these beings are superhuman or supernatural. Sovrumano and sovrumana. Or, and you can probably guess all of these, soprannaturale, sovrannaturale, paranormale, all of which aren't people as such, just descriptions. Some of those that fall under these banners that aren't already on the list are Dio, divinità, idolo, genio, all kinds of godlike beings, again mostly guessable. Vampiro, vampira, you must know what that is, but you might not know this one. Lupo manaro, for werewolf. Phantasma, spooky ghost time. You probably learnt that one. And finally, a selection of mythological characters and gods, but only ones I've seen in books. There are, of course, a ton of others that you might come across. Centauro, centaur. Minotauro, minotaur. Sirena, siren or mermaid. Pegaso, Pegasus. Fauno, faun or satyr. Fenice, phoenix. Jove, Jupiter. Marte, Mars. Venere, Venus. Those last two often get mentioned in songs. Nettuno, Neptune. Mercurio, Mercury. I think only Jupiter out of those is impossibly difficult to guess. And at some point you will almost certainly see Colapesce mentioned, either as one word or two. This is a character in a Sicilian legend about keeping Sicily above water. You'll have to look it up if you want to know more. Happy fantasy reading!